Fear is a tool. But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Psycho Emerald. Today I'm back with another McFarlane DC Multiverse collectible 7-inch action figure unboxing and review. Today I have Batman from the 2022 film The Batman. I'm really excited for this figure. I went to see this movie a couple weeks ago with my brothers and my dad, and we all loved it. And this is my favorite movie version of Batman. I just thought everything they did to characterize this version of Batman, everything Robert Pattinson did to play this version of Batman was such a good classic take on Batman, but also such a unique, new, fresh take on the character as well. And Batman's my favorite superhero of all time, you guys probably know. And yeah, I thought this was pretty much exactly what I wanted from a movie version of the character. So of course I need to get a figure of him. I went into my local GameStop and grabbed this guy. And I did order the Mezco 1/12 Collective Batman. So I pre-ordered that, and it'll be here next year, and I'm really excited for that. But I figured I'd grab the cheaper McFarlane Toys Batman figure, even though I didn't think it looked super good. Now that I have it in hand and can see it in person, I like it a lot better than the photos I've seen of it. And so I'm really excited just to have this. Hopefully this will hold me over until next year when the Mezco one finally comes out. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for this figure. I haven't done a McFarlane DC Multiverse figure review in a while. But I'm excited to do another one because this is a figure I'm really excited about since it is from the new film, and I've been kind of on a Batman kick lately, mostly because of the release of the new film. But yeah, let's check out the box real quick. So we got DC Multiverse, then The Batman, that red logo. I love that color scheme that they've got going on there. Then you can see the figure in this big window, which they probably won't always have because of the new like plastic regulations and things that are going on. I like how on this one it has the name on the side. Usually the name's at the bottom, I'm pretty sure. But on this one they changed that. And then we got the 12 and up there. And we got DC Multiverse, Batman, McFarlane Toys. And then here we have Batman from The Batman, that The Batman logo. A cool toy photography photo. I like the fact that they're actually putting a creative shot of the figure itself. And that's what will be on the trading card when we do get the figure open, if you can see the trading card back there. And then we got some of the other figures in the wave, which the only ones I'm really interested in getting are Batman and Riddler, because I'm not really a fan of the way the Catwoman or Penguin figures look, even though I did like the characters. I didn't think those figures turned out too well, so I'm probably not going to be picking up either of those. But over here we have the Batman logo, then we have Batman from The Batman, and then we have the McFarlane Toys logo, just big lettering right here. And then on the top, we have the Batman logo once again. 22 moving parts, because I think it's funny that McFarlane Toys is the only company that still, like, brags about the amount of articulation points they have on their figures. Then here we have the McFarlane Toys logo sticker thing up there. It's not really a sticker, but yeah. But yeah, there we go. So that's the box. Let's get the trusty unboxing knife and finally break Batman out of the packaging. Okay, so I got the trusty unboxing knife. Let's get Batman open. So we're going to cut these little stickers up here. It's all sealed in there, ready to free him from his plastic prison. So let's pop the top of the box open, slide the tray out here. And then we'll get the grapple gun. I wish he came with more accessories, because all he comes with is the grapple gun. And then we've got the figure himself. Let's finally get Batman out of here. It looks like I'm going to need to cut the plastic tie, though. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. So let's set the packaging aside. Also, I've got to figure out how to get the trading card and the base out from the package, and then we will check out the figure. All right, so I got the figure out of the package. First impressions are pretty positive. I had a chance to play with it just a little bit. Some things I'm a little disappointed about, which I will talk about. But let's start with just checking out the figure itself, which looks really, really cool. Apart from the fact that he's, you know, always looking off to the side. Makes me want to say, Batman, look at me. Look straight forward, Batman. Look at me. But you can't do that, because for some reason, Todd McFarlane thinks that all figures need to be looking to the side, or else they look like mannequins. What? Do you realize an action figure is just a posable mannequin? It's just a small mannequin. Anyway, it doesn't really make much sense why he does that, because then you can't have him turning his head that way, because then he's looking to the side and it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's just one little frustrating thing, is the fact that he's looking so far off to the side, and it's a little bit distracting. And another thing is the fact that the arms don't really lay quite flat by his sides, but that's kind of what we've gotten used to at this point with McFarlane figures, is they don't really, the arms don't really want to stay to the side. McFarlane, I would say, is kind of a step below Hasbro figures when it comes to the quality of the articulation and things like that. But overall, I still am usually pretty pleased with my McFarlane figures, and I do really like them, but I don't get them very often. But this was one I definitely had to get, since it is my favorite Batman. But let's check out the details first. We got the bat symbol up here. The cowl looks really cool. It's got like stitch marks in the top of it, if you guys can see that. That just looks really, really cool, that little attention to detail there. Then we've got, the sculpt lines in the armor of the bat suit. Makes it look very tactical, very cool. Then here we got a bit of paint going on. There's not much paint going on the rest of the figure, but we got these kind of darts painted. I don't know if those are like ammunition for his grapple gun, which we will look at later. I love the way the boots look, because we do get close-up shots of the boots in the movie. So it's really cool to see that they went to the trouble to sculpt in those little shoelaces and things like that on the boots. They definitely look really cool. Just lots of good sculpt work going on the belt. And then down here on the pants as well, like good little wrinkle lines and things like that to make it look realistic. But I'm pretty sure he's supposed to have like his sticky bomb gun, I think it is, on his thigh here. He's supposed to have like a thigh holster with the like sticky bomb gun, I think it is. So he doesn't have that. I don't know why that is, but he does not have that. But then there's the cape, which is sculpted pretty well. It does feel a little bit cheaper, the vinyl that they've used here. It might just be like this coat that they've put over it. Seems like there's kind of this weird texture to it. It's not bad. It's just kind of odd, because it's not what I'm personally used to when it comes to the McFarlane Batman capes. And then over here, we've got more sculpt going on the back of the cowl, which I think looks really, really cool. So yeah, lots of good sculpt work, shoulder pads. And the wrist gauntlets, I think, are the standouts when it comes to that, because they've got even the extra paint going on here. And then down here, we've got these, which are made out of very soft, rubbery material. As you can see, they can be pushed like that. But those look really cool. And yeah, overall, I think it's a good representation of Robert Pattinson as Batman in the new movie. I think they got it really well. The most irritating thing is just those eyes always looking to the side. Just a little annoying. But yeah, and I think the likeness is pretty good. For it having the mask on, it definitely helps, because I know McFarlane's faces usually aren't super strong when it comes to the likenesses to actors. But I think this looks pretty good because of the fact that most of the face is covered. I think it definitely serves as Robert Pattinson Batman. So yeah, let's check out his accessories. Okay, so the first accessory he comes with here is the grapple gun that we see him use. If you guys don't want any spoilers, then I guess I should warn that there might be some spoilers. But in the scene where he is being chased by the police officers and then has to grapple to the top of the tower and then fly off using his wingsuit, that's what this is from. I think he did use it a couple other times, but that's obviously where it's most memorable in the movie to me, was that scene when he's on the run from the police. So I think that's pretty cool. They sculpted it pretty well, and it looks like it has this peg right here that will fit into his hand. But yeah, if you can look at some of the detail on that, looks pretty cool. No paint on it at all, but that's totally fine. Let's attach it to his hand. Alright, so here we have Pat Bat. Let's see if we can peg this. If you see his hand has that peg hole in it, because you're supposed to put this right there. Because in the movie it does kind of come out of his wrist, and then he fires it up like that. But it's kind of difficult to have him firing the grapple gun that way, because his eyes are looking the wrong way. This is where it's like, why would you make I am going to keep ranting about this, but why would you make the eyes looking off in one direction? That just limits so much of what you can do when you're posing the figure, especially when you put the grapple gun on this hand. You can't have him looking in the direction that he's firing the grapple gun. He's always looking the wrong way. That's just irritating to me. It doesn't severely hurt the figure, even though that's the only thing I'm like ranting about when it comes to this figure, but it's just annoying. I hope they stop doing that with McFarlane Toys, because it is very irritating, especially on a figure where the feature is that he has this grapple gun on his hand, and it has to go on this hand, and he might be able to hold it in this hand. I guess we can try that, but when he has it in that hand, he can't look in the direction he's firing it. That's just irritating. So I guess we could try to put it in the other hand, see if that works, but it won't look quite right, because that's not how he fired it in the movie. But it might fit into that hand. There. You could put it in that hand, but it doesn't look quite right. It's like he's holding a chicken drumstick or something. I don't know why that's what I thought of. Anyway, that's that's all you can do with that. And one more gripe about the eyes looking the wrong way is it kind of limits your posability because of the fact that you can't have him looking natural firing his grapple gun, which is annoying. So it's kind of annoying that they always do that with McFarlane figures. They did the same thing with the Action Comics Superman. That's the only other one I have that has this problem, but it wasn't as much of a problem for me with Superman. But because I love this version of Batman so much, and there's so much I want to do with the posing of this Batman, it's annoying that he is limited by the fact that he always has to be looking in this direction. So yeah, that's just one problem that I obviously have with the figure, but let's check out the other two accessories he comes with. Alright, so here is other two accessories. It comes with the stand that comes with all the DC Multiverse figures. I wish all action figures came with stands. I just think it makes them a lot more fun. You don't have to worry about them not being able to stand up, and I just think it's cool to have all the figures lined up on their little stands. So I wish all figures came with stands, but that's one thing I really love about the McFarlane DC Multiverse line is the stands. Another thing I like is the trading card, which I'm not like a big trading card guy or anything, but I really like these because I like to put them behind the figures in my display. It just kind of rounds out the display a bit, and I really like it, but I'm a little disappointed because of the fact that this is way flimsier. It's super thin. It's not what I'm used to. Immediately once I got it out of the package, I was disappointed because it's like, oh, this isn't what I'm used to. The other cards that come with the other three McFarlane DC Multiverse figures I've got are a lot thicker, a lot more sturdy cardstock on the trading cards, so I was a little disappointed that this one seems a lot cheaper. It's a lot flimsier, but I guess if they're putting their money into, putting more details into the figures instead of making these thicker cardstock, I guess I can understand, but I still am a little bit disappointed that this isn't as high quality as the other ones. But it's still got that cool photo there of the figure in that scene that I was mentioning where he is running from the police in the police station. So I think that's really cool that they've included that. And then over here, we've got the bio write-up. I'm not going to read the entire thing because that would take a little while. I'll probably read it later, but if you guys want to read it, pause the video there. There you go. Batman from the Batman DC Multiverse logo, and then we got a little close-up shot right there of the figure. So yeah, really cool. I like having these two accessories included. They're two extra things that aren't necessary, but I definitely really like. So yeah, let's move on to the articulation. Right, so gonna go over the articulation. So when coming up with what pose to put this guy in, I wanted to obviously use the grapple gun for something, but I couldn't quite do that right because of this irritating little eye thing here. But the articulation on the arm is actually pretty good. So you probably could get him into a cool pose with that grapple gun, like him pointing it up and then looking up, and then maybe you could suspend him from a flight stand or something as he's doing that. If you could get him to look up that way, it just looks so goofy because he's never looking in the right way. So that's one irritating thing. But I was thinking about, like, if you did have the flare for him to hold, that was probably my favorite shot in the film, was where he was leading all the civilians out using the flare. I thought that was really, really cool. So let's try to do that. Even though we don't have the flare actually in his hand, I'll bring something in to substitute it. Okay, so I brought in this flame effect from the Return of the Jedi Black Series Boba Fett. I wanted to have him holding it the other way, so the fire was going out that way, but this could still work. So he can be like this. You can kind of have him look like he's walking. Maybe put that arm back and go like this. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Kind of have him leaning like that. I think that's pretty cool. So let's get the stand. All right, so there we have that pose. So he's got the double jointed elbows and he has the toe pivot, so you can kind of get him into cool walking poses. And the articulation on the hands is pretty good too, so you can kind of get the hands in the positions that you want. And he has the ball joint at the mid-torso as well, which will get you some good movement there. So you can have that, which I think looks pretty cool. Kind of looks like the final, not the final shot, but, the shot where he leads all the civilians out using the flare. I think that looks pretty cool. I probably won't display him like that just because it's a little goofy to have him holding a flame effect, but I thought that would be a pose I could try on camera. And if you didn't catch the memo by watching my Jet Trooper review that I released recently, I'm not doing normal articulation segments anymore. They're going to be more like this, me posing the figure and then talking about the pros and cons of the articulation, which one of the cons is definitely going to be that the arms don't lay flat by his sides, so you can't get like really natural looking poses out of his arms. So it's a little difficult to do, especially since, I'd want to have this arm kind of laying flat by his side, but I can't quite do that. But I think overall it works pretty well when it comes to the articulation. So yeah, let me give you guys a closer look at Robert Pattinson Batman. All right, so for some quick size comparisons, I'm going to compare them with some other Batman figures I have from the McFarlane DC Multiverse line. So here is the Detective Comics issue 1000 Batman. Okay, so there you have him. He's kind of crouched over because he's doing that grapple gun shooting pose. But I think you can still get a pretty good idea of how these guys will be height-wise, because this guy is crouched over a little bit, but I think they're about the same height. I imagine a lot of people have this figure. It's kind of a classic, solid, ordinary version of Batman, so I imagine a lot of people have it, so you can get an idea of how he will size with that. So he's a bit bigger, wider, and I think he is a little bit taller as well. So there you can get an idea of that. And here's another one, which is probably my personal favorite McFarlane DC Multiverse figure of all time, the Todd McFarlane designed Batman. All right, so there he is. So he's a bit taller than Bat actually, but I really like that Batman. It's really cool. Going to go check out my reviews for both of those, linked up in the card right there. And yeah, let's get these two guys out of the way, and I'll give you guys my finishing thoughts on Robert Pattinson Batman. All right, so I really like this figure. I'd recommend going and picking it up if you haven't yet. I know a lot of people do have it. I know a lot of people like me are really loving this film and this version of Batman. So if you're looking for a good figure to represent Pattinson Batman in your collection, this is definitely the one you'll want to go for. It's really good. It's got a lot of great details. I think the likeness is pretty good and the articulation is pretty good. That side-eye issue is a little bit irritating, but I think it's pretty easy to get past, even though I did rant about it a bit, and I know I ranted about Todd McFarlane making his mannequin comment. I still think he does a great job. I think overall the whole company over there at McFarlane Toys, they do a great job at giving us great representations of our favorite DC characters. So I just want to make that clear. I'm not hating on McFarlane Toys. I just have some choice comments that I want to make when it comes to certain things about the figures that I'm irritated by. But overall, I'd still recommend picking this figure up if you really liked the film, because it's a really good representation of that Batman. And I will be right here next year when the Mezco Batman comes out, reviewing it on the channel, at least most likely. Never know what could happen, but I most likely will be right here reviewing that Mezco Batman. So if you're interested in seeing that, please be sure to hit subscribe. I do action figure unboxing reviews on my channel. That's what my channel is about. So if that's something you're interested in, please consider subscribing in order to join the Knights of Mischief. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much for the support. If you did enjoy this review, please be sure to leave a like. I would really appreciate that. So yeah, I hope you found this review helpful. Hope you found it enjoyable, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.